former Queensland Red superstars Aidan Toa and Dallin Murphy. Lads, how are we?
People, yeah, mate, good, really good.
Very, very excited to be here, obviously.
Bit nervous.
A little bit nervous. On our bench, the battlers, the gruesome twosome, Big Fat Darcy, Ryan Fellini.
Fellow Terration, mate.
What do I ask you? I don't really have a question, mate. I love you, mate.
Yo, ma, and welcome to the PAC Show, proudly brought to you by the PAC Athletic Club and DoubleTake Sports, the rugby show that's going to be bringing you all the highlights, lowlights, reviews, previews, news and interviews from the game here in Australia and around the world. My name is J-Ball, and joining me as per usual, we have Dos and Dal, and unfortunately Big Fat Das can't make it tonight, so now we've only got the kill switch himself, Ryan Fellini.
Mate, to be honest, who gives, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't add much. Nah, just joking.
He's getting better.
He is.
He's getting a lot better.
He's very good last week.
He was very good.
He blacked out, remember? Like, he just fucking... Oh, shit, sorry. Oh, God. I haven't started well.
Tino's coming to you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, obviously, Sione and Tino aren't here tonight either, so you might be able to slip a few more of them in without copping one in the back of their friends.
On the old casting couch. I felt, I don't feel as threatened having this guy's not here tonight.
And Tino's having a baby, is he?
Yes. His
Yep.
10th one. Yeah. Seriously. So that's pretty cool.
It's very cool. She's being induced as we speak.
He knows
I
how to
think.
do it, man. They don't even go to hospital.
Yeah.
He's just at home. And then Juice, have you seen the size of his fingers? You know what I mean? Be easy if he just doesn't want to get on the job one night. You know what I mean? Those things are huge. Yeah.
What a start to the
Sorry.
show. What a start to the show.
I've had a V. I've had a V. I'm all pumped up.
Yeah, what do you call it? A Bricky's
The old
breakfast?
breakfast. That and a bit of meth. But, no. Sorry.
Nah, man, keep it going. Well, friends, how was your weekend? You and Dal ran into each other over the weekend, didn't you?
Oh, mate. Yeah, so, okay, we're going to get into the story, right? I went to we were going to the footy. So I thought, I'll find a park. I tried to do the old cheeky one and go up to the barracks there. And I was like, I'll get in there. And the guy's like, have you booked? I'm like, he's got me. Anyway, so I was doing a U-bolt, and I was going to do the cheeky left and just bolt in, and then he saw me anyway, so I panicked, went out, and then I went down towards like Roma Street, and there's that car park on the left. I've never been in there, so it was a bit of a mystery bag. So I went in there, and it turns out it was about a 10K long driveway to get this car park. I ended up on the top of a mountain, possibly in Toowong. Nah, but top of Spring Hill or something. I didn't know how to get out of there. So we got on the top and I had to walk all the way from the top of this mountain down, all the way like past Normanby and then all the way to Caxton Street. Then down this back street. That's when I saw Dal and I was sweating. Yeah, it was no good.
He was perspiring very heavily.
It was horrible.
Before the game as
Yeah,
well,
before the
man.
game.
Yeah, before the
You
game.
just know you're not going to cool down either, eh?
No, Ellie and Issy raced to the top of the hill, and they're like, "Oh, run!" I'm like, "No, I'm trying not to sweat," and I was still sweating. So
Did you not play that day?
no, mate, I was I retired again for the weekend,
Okay.
having
Did you
3
not play
weeks
the
off.
weekend? 3 weeks off.
Yeah, going to Hawaii, so I didn't want to break, damage the face for Isaac's wedding. So
You
ruined
had
his
one
photos.
game and you've got 3 weeks off already.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, that is the best.
I reckon I'm making the call. I'm coming back. I'll play Reggie's whatever. I'm ready.
You're
I'm
ready?
back. Yeah, I need to get some game time in me.
Ooh, that's good to
big
hear.
call, yeah.
Huge call.
Big
Off the bench.
announcement.
Off the bench, by the way. Yeah.
Oh, mate, that's huge. Well, you heard it here first, folks. Ooh, did my mic just turn up a little bit? Is that just tweaking me out a
Thorny.
bit? What's that?
I'm ready, Thorny.
Yeah, that's absolutely huge, friends. So you reckon you're going to play out the rest of the season? Just to get
May
to
as
that
well.
100 caps.
Well, buddy, yeah, hopefully. I'll play prop, whatever. I just got to get there.
That's the big one,
That's
eh?
a big one, man.
All righty. Rock on. All right, well, thanks for filling us in with your weekend
No
then,
problems,
friends.
guys.
But now, let's kick things off right away. Tonight, we've got a huge show. We've got 2 huge guests from the Tars after their massive win last weekend. We've got Jed Holloway. Big Fat Das must be spewing he's not here, but he gets to sit front row centre at home and tune into the interview with his favourite player of all time, Jed Holloway. We've also got Benny Lucas joining us. He's going to have a yarn to us. It'll be good to pick his brain about, obviously, his journey thus far. But I really want to have a yarn to him about Sunnybank because if you saw Sunnybank play the last couple of weeks, he's probably got a few things to say about that. So, but without further ado, let's get straight into pack news for this week. And first, off the bat, the Aussie Women's Sevens earlier this morning clinching the World Series title with a huge win.
Let's get it in.
Over
get a bit of a clap
the
going.
Kiwis in the final there at the Canada Sevens. Lily Dick, what was it, the 2 minutes overtime, being able to pick up that try right at the deck. How good was that? That was the best Oz.
I mean, yeah, brilliant result. Those girls, they seem to just take things to another level. And, you know, we're so used to in the men's game watching Fiji dominate the sevens, the All Blacks dominating the 15. And, you know, you feel proud to be an Aussie saying that, you know, our Aussie women's, you know, they're at the top of the sevens game and they're holding it there. You know, they're not erratic in their performances. Obviously well coached by Walshy, but yeah, made a bunch of really talented girls.
And there was a huge announcement a couple of weeks ago, Dal, about Emily Barton, formerly Emily Cherry. She was, the 2014 Women's Sevens Player of the Year, hugely accomplished player. She's now transitioning in as an assistant sevens coach for that Aussie setup. That's massive unto itself. That sort of progress from a player into that managerial role, that administrative coaching side of things, is absolutely huge for that side.
Yeah, absolutely. She was obviously captain there for a few times, and she has that ability to I think, progress through to being the coach. She's very good in that space, and I think it's exciting for the game. And obviously, while she's done a terrific job coming back in from Johnny Minetti, but having Emily Cherry in there or Emily Barton is fantastic.
It's the best, man, and they are just so red hot. Friends,
they're playing that sort of good style again, aren't they? Like,
yes.
Well, Walshy took them to the Olympics, they won the gold, and then obviously they had that other coach. You know, he did all right, but whatever. They're coming back. They're back, baby. They're back.
They are.
That was an awesome game, though. Holy
It was ridiculous.
like, especially towards the end, then.
Ridiculous.
Oh.
And it was what? It was a turnover. Was it? Levi got that turnover with 3 seconds to go just before our own try line, and then 2 minutes later they marched down the field.
Yeah.
Mate, that's the sort of shit that you don't really coach.
That passage of play too went for so long.
So
I
long.
was gassed looking at it. Like, it was from one end of the field and then back, and then I was like, yeah, how are they running? Like, how are they running? You see Lily Dick when she had the old sinkers in her boots.
She nearly tripped over herself when she got in space there. But mate,
that was awesome.
They are absolutely red hot, and
that was like the top Kiwi side. Like, there's no, you know, that was such a good clash.
Mate, it was absolutely awesome. And then, speaking of absolutely awesome footy, over the weekend, Super Rugby was absolutely massive. Do you think, Dos, it's becoming a lot more competitive and almost as a result, a hell of a lot more entertaining?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, Jay Bohr. Before the competition came across the Tasman, I was one who was a bit hesitant around how the Aussies were going to go.
This guy.
Mate, gladly proven wrong. Mate, on the weekend was brilliant. I think, besides the Brumbies Hurricanes game, the biggest winning margin was 4 points.
Yeah,
Throughout the first five games,
and then the biggest winning was an Aussie side over a Kiwi side, which everyone,
I'm fired up.
Yeah, mate.
I'm fired up,
mate. But I want to ask this: do you reckon there's more? Like, we've discussed it only a couple of weeks ago with John O'Lance about reducing the size of the stadiums, going to more local stadiums. That game in Suva. Was loose. And then at Leichhardt, they had 10,500 people. And DC jokingly quit to, he just made a joke about, maybe we just get rid of the new Sydney football stadium upgrade. It's like, yeah, man. Yeah. You're saying it quite part loud. Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
Get rid of that. That was absolutely awesome, that game in Suva.
It was unbelievable. When you watch it, you can the crowd's the crowd is larger and louder is the word I'm looking for than the commentators, and so you're sitting there watching it and you're just like, this is unbelievable. You know what I mean? There's so many people, and I feel like you're saying, Jay, but we need to go to smaller stadiums to make a little bit more atmosphere. Ballymore used to be fantastic for that. And hopefully with that development coming through, we can end up doing that.
Well, and the thing is, with the new Ballymore upgrade, they're getting rid of the stands, but it's all going to be a tiered hill, isn't it?
Yeah.
A raised hill the whole way around, and then 2,000 or 3,000 underneath the stadium. So there's going to be capacity for people to go to a footy game and enjoy it there. I don't see why they wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I reckon. Yeah, I reckon that was awesome. That Leichhardt Oval, the Waratahs, that was awesome. That was awesome from the Waratahs as well. That and then that Tane Edmed at the end. That I got goosebumps.
Yeah.
Goosebumps.
I cried. I'm not going to lie.
No,
Yeah,
but it was
mate,
just
it was the best.
like you said, the margins are getting smaller. The competitive, like we're there. You know what I mean? Those young boys are just stepping up, and there's so much. It's exciting footy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the Reds
and
very
exciting
easily
footy.
could have won.
Yeah.
Exactly.
should've,
Like
yeah.
they
Yeah.
should have won. The Drua could have beat the could have easily beaten the Highlanders.
Roma
That
multi,
result could have gone the other way.
Actually, no, Reds did, but so close.
But I
Really
mean,
good.
all you want to see now is just the consistency in the
Yeah.
performance
That's
from
it.
the Aussie rugby teams. You don't want to get too excited and too far ahead of ourselves. But yeah, they've set the bar tremendously high in these first 2 weeks of Super Rugby Pacific, and mate, looking forward. You can't even. You're not confident in making your tips for next weekend or this upcoming weekend because you genuinely don't know who's going to win.
Yeah. Although I don't actually, because done my integrity unit. So yeah.
Another thing I wanted to discuss tonight is last week it was announced that the new Redcliffe Dolphins NRL side has legitimately partnered with your old dog-ass mob.
Whoa.
Nudgy there.
Whoa, you better back up, mate.
No.
Punches
You
and
guys
bunches,
can
you
suck
nerds.
my hairy beanbag on this one because this has been, like, they are literally saying the quiet part loud now. They are, like, staring into our eyes as they
Yeah.
backdoor
Feed it
us.
in.
Like, they are...
Feed it.
It used to, like, it always went unspoken. There were players like Kalen Ponga, Jaden Sewer, Croft, like all these guys were all leagueies, but they were going to these schools despite being signed.
But
And now Nudgy is literally opening the door and polishing them off, being like, "Yep, come on in," and why? And then nothing from the QAU,
That's what I
nothing
mean.
from Rugby
Well,
Australia.
They've just been taking it for granted for so long, I guess. So,
Like,
and
Nudgy-
Wayne Bennett's just like, what am I doing? Why don't I just capitalise on this?
Like, they literally said, we used to walk in the door and we couldn't get anything, and now they're welcoming us in. As I said, they're literally saying the quiet part loud. They are not afraid to announce this, and we are bending over and taking it square up the freckle, because this is insane. I
think it's insane too.
Like, I don't know. Like, I understand they're private schools. They can do whatever they want. I've always said that, if a player is contracted to an NRL side, you shouldn't be letting them in. But the schools don't care. They win the premiership. What do they give a shit?
Well, but they don't. So that's the big thing. They just want to win premierships.
Exactly.
And that's how it's always been. But I feel like this has always happened. Do you know what I mean? Ever since.
Yeah, it's nothing.
Yeah, but they have never come out and legitimately been like, here's a news article, and Wayne Bennett's like, quietly. He literally doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
And Rugby Australia has not said Bo Peep about it.
I know, but I think it's just they just assume they're going to go and they assume everyone's going to stay with Union, I guess, and obviously it's the tables have turned a bit. I don't know. It's pretty full on, but I reckon, hopefully it'll kick them into gear to do something. But
You know
I
what
doubt
they
it.
say, Freeney? When you assume you make an ass out of you and me, mate.
Oh no, trust me, mate. Measure twice, cut once.
Damn.
You know what I mean?
My thoughts exactly. Another big one coming out of the Reds camp, Nella with a calf strain. He's going to be ruled out for the remainder of the Super Rugby Pacific season. Dow, are the Reds stuffed?
No.
Dal, mate.
Worst case of loser denial of single.
I'm
You don't
passionate-
reckon?
I'm passionate,
You
obviously.
didn't ask
Stop
about the
letting
scrums. You just asked about the Reds.
Yeah, so obviously.
Oh, yeah. How's the scrum going to go?
Well, yeah, the boys need to step up, right? There's some
Yeah.
young props there who need to really step up and make a big impact over the next couple of weeks. He's huge from that aspect of the game, and he's very, very freakish on the field, as we've talked about before. He's a $1 million player, and plus. So they've got some key guys, and I think they get Geordie back this week, plus James in a couple other weeks, weeks moving forward. But still, I feel like they need to go out there this week and win, and I feel like they will win.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel that you lose Nella. That's compounded by the fact that you've already lost Rabs. I firmly believe if Rabs plays against the Hurricanes and the Chiefs, the Reds.
How's his name? The nickname Rabs. It's like,
Well,
we get it, mate. You played with him.
James. I'll call him James. But I firmly believe if he plays the last two games, they win both of those games. So he's just as a crucial loss as Nella. And just on that, Rabs was playing in the 07 Nudgy team, who we beat at Ross Oval I just thought I'd
This
throw that in
dude.
there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
This dude.
I
played
think I was there.
I
I was
played
there
with
for that game
against
too,
him, so,
watching on the Island disgust. Zoomers.
This guy.
But look, I think he's huge. Not having O'Connor there for the rest of the year is going to be big
Is
as
he out
well.
for the year?
Oh well, I think they've only got 4 more weeks left.
It's touch and go.
What do you do?
Medial,
Lateral, collateral.
Yeah.
Mate, this is his best year I've seen him play for a while. I thought he was amazing.
Mate,
Most
exactly.
consistent.
Exactly.
So good.
Do you think the opportunity that Lawson's gotten over the last couple of weeks going to do him good, Dow?
Yeah, massively.
100%.
It's time in the saddle, right?
Yep.
He hasn't had any opportunity over the last couple of years. One through injury, but 2 because James is there and he's done a
He's
terrific
very
his
consistent.
job.
Absolutely.
And Lawson's been coming on the wing, and
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know, where he's
Yeah.
not familiar.
He's
But
I hate to
Lawson's-
say it, he's decent though. Eh?
Yeah.
He's bloody good.
He's a 10.
Oh,
He's
he's
an out and
quite
out
good.
10.
He's a
Can play
10.
15.
He is a
but-
10 who can play 15, not vice versa, in my
Correct.
opinion.
And so this is going to be really, really good for him. You see, he's got some really good touches in him from the weekend before. Obviously made some mistakes, but he'll be definitely better for it.
And the thing is, I think he plays a different game to James too, though, because he is more of a running 10, whereas I think James probably directs traffic a little bit better.
More of a dinner suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Nice.
and the last one was the last thing we wanted to discuss was Timmy Horan. In the broadcast over the weekend, just slyly dropping that the Rebels under Nick Stiles as the GM are going to start hunting guys like TJ Pedonara, Samu Karevi, and
Imagine that.
Taniela Tupou.
Three
Got
really
pulled up on
specific
it.
names.
Yeah, got pulled up on it pretty quick by Nick Ricardo and sort of shit the bed a bit. But what do you reckon, Dal? Obviously, they've got to start doing it. But of those guys, do you reckon they can get any of them?
I think the one they can get is Samu. I don't know if Taniela would go, but I feel like Samu, there's a good affiliation there. He's
They
got one,
need him
He's got
too.
1 more year to go. Post World Cup, he might, be back in Australia playing for the Melbourne Rebels.
They need a player like him there.
Imagine that sort of signing at the Rebels.
Be huge.
Outside
Karevi.
someone like Carter Gorner coming through too.
Yeah, exactly.
They've got guys that they've got just like good players, but yeah, they definitely need that sort of couple of X factors.
Yeah,
in there, right?
and I mean, if he wasn't on the Rebels and Styles' radar, maybe Timmy Horan's done them a favour, and they'll have the conversation. And mate, if it's me, I'm giving him an open checkbook. I'm saying, what's it going to take to get you back? Because mate, he's that influential.
Yeah.
That's very true. He might have just kick-started something to try and actually get them. Because they need, I think we were saying before the broadcast, that every side sort of needs that $1 million man. They need that guy that you can literally hinge your entire side around. And someone like, we obviously have someone like Nella, because he does so many different things as well as a set piece. But someone like Samu at the Rebels, they've got a very good forward pack, very young back line. Imagine putting someone like him outside Carter Gordon, who so many are rating as the answer. Freens,
The answer,
mate. They would skyrocket.
Yeah.
They would absolutely skyrocket.
I reckon he just needs some time too, or Carter Gordon. I reckon he's getting, he's got some good touches in him. He does a couple of things, but he's still young. He'll be fine.
He is still young, but that try-saving tackle he
So
made
good.
on the weekend is exactly what Carter Gordon does. When he was it 2 years ago, first year out of school, playing for the Doggies,
Yeah.
you see someone built like him. He's built like a 12-year-old vegetarian, mate.
Yeah.
But he deletes blokes.
Yeah.
He is one of the most courageous footy players you'll see going around. So, mate, if they pick up Samu Karevi, holy shit, maybe they can get more than 8 people to a Rebels game, eh? All right, well, that rounds our pack news for tonight. And as we said, after that massive win by the Tars over the Satyrs last weekend, we decided to get their best player. That's right, we have got Jed Holloway on the blower. Jed, how you doing, brother?
How are we, lads?
Living the
How
dream.
good's this?
Living the dream. Yeah, this is awesome. We've been raving for about a month now that we have to get the best player from the Tars on the blower, and unfortunately Tate Edmund was unavailable.
You're a fuck.
But we were able to get you, so thanks for your time, Jed. But, mate, run us through that win over the weekend at Leichhardt. 10,500 people going absolutely skits mix, and you knock off the 12-time champions in the Satyrs. How about it?
Yeah, man, it was pretty special. Coming off a pretty rough loss to the Chiefs, and then pretty intense week of training building up to that Crusaders game, and it was nice. It was nice to get off to that early fast start, and then we were lucky enough to kind of hold the Crusaders off there and come away with a win.
Hey, Jed, mate, Ados here. Obviously, mate, brilliant game on the weekend. But you have been fantastic this whole year, I just want to mention. But I want to just go more on a personal note. You've been in a Wallaby squad. You left, you had a little stint at Munster, I think it was, and then you spent the last year in Japan. And you've just come back and your game's gone to, 2 different levels. Has the experience overseas helped you sort of grow and develop as a player, and help you come back into Super Rugby and, put in the performances that you have been?
Yeah, man. I think the perspective overseas gave me was critical for me. I've talked about this a few times, but just living in Sydney, and if results aren't going your way, you get turned on pretty quickly. And as a young guy, you don't really learn the tools on how to deal with that. And I used to beat myself up pretty hard about, a loss or a bad individual performance or something like that. And I think going away to especially Japan, you learn off guys, Kieran Reid and Willie LaRue, and Hoops was over there with me as well. You sort of soak in what they give you, and they just gave me the perspective to kind of, it sounds bad, but just care less about that stuff and just enjoy footy for what it is, because it doesn't last forever. And it was unreal. It was like you go over there, you're paid quite well. You don't know what language they're speaking. I mean, you know what language they're speaking, but you don't know what they're saying. So you're just there you really learn to enjoy the footy side of things. And I've just brought that perspective back and just really loved what DC's and their coaching staff are offering at the club. And there's such a great group of lads there that they've all just really bought into what we're trying to do, and the results are kind of proving that.
Yeah, we talk about that enjoyment that is at the club at the moment, and obviously it's a big contrast from last year. DC's come in, he's a breath of fresh air. Let's discuss kind of, I guess, the impact he's had, the other coaches have had, and the group at the moment. How are you guys keeping that enjoyment? Obviously winning helps, but what's been a bit different?
I think he's kept a really good measure on accountability amongst all the players. Everyone's getting called out for stuff, but everyone's getting taps on the back as well if we're doing well, or if a positive happens in the game. And also he's just brought like a real, I guess, club rugby vibe to the place, which is hard to bring.
So good.
Yeah.
Love it.
But a bit of a looseness around, and it's just like, it's a good feeling. Like you get called out, as I said, but also it gives you a big hug and a kiss after a game. And the boys are just really, really enjoying that side of him, and it's been a breath of fresh air.
Jed, Ryan here. Oh, Ryan, how weird is that? Friends here.
The kill switch.
Dal sort of stole my question a bit, but like under DC, it just seems like you guys have got that sort of new lease of life, and sort of like you're obviously there with the checker days as well. Like, what's the sort of differences there? Is he just getting around the boys a bit more, like you said, keeps you accountable, but also has a bit of fun as well? Is that sort of the vibe? The style of footy is good to watch.
Sorry. Yeah, I'd say, he's put the most focus into team culture, I've seen since Checker. When Check first come in 2013, it was all about, learning the other side of the man, like learning about what he does away from footy, what he's about, what his family involves, who his family are. And DC's really done a good job at that throughout the pre-season. It hasn't just been a one overnight thing. It's been built over the last 6 to 8 months. But on the flip side, like, him and the coaches are putting in so much time coming up with our game plan and making us, giving us full confidence and trust that we're going to go out there and play well under that game plan. he's given the forwards license to throw cutout passes and
Nice.
do stuff. I think HJH was going to have a chip and chase on the weekend. But, it just gives us that freedom to play footy and you get a whack if you don't pull it off, but if you do, he's going to pump you up. And it's, as I said, it's just an awesome vibe in there at the moment. And he's talked about being tough, and the boys are really showing that. We're putting our bodies on the line. We're, putting our heads in mauls and disrupting there, and then we're scoring tries as well, which is great.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm a big Reds supporter, but I've been watching the Waratahs a lot this year, and it's been actually good to watch. But as a fun fact, the old NRC highlight, the thing that sort of advertised for NRC, I think it was Jed deleting me of a hospital ball. So I can't remember who passed it to me, but I've got the ball, and you just fucking ended me. I was just like,
That's sick. That's
good.
real nice, man. That's
I think we won that game anyway.
Ago,
that was a lot. 2014 specifically, it was, but yeah, we won that game, so suck it in. No.
But actually,
Greater Sydney Rams didn't win many games.
Yeah, no.
Bloody
Oh,
oath.
that was a hell of a time.
Speaking of not winning many games, Southern Districts, mate, they haven't been going too well this season. We've seen your old mob. They've been one of the bench setters the last few years, but this season seems, at least in Shoot Shield, and you were talking about DC bringing a club culture type of feel to the TARS setup. It looks like it's almost permeating back through to the club setup, because you've got sides like the Two Blues getting some guys like Tavita Funa back, and they're really playing good footy. You've got guys like Carlo Tazano and Lungy Gleeson chopping up for their respective clubs. That connection between Shoot Shield and that Super Rugby setup, is that a lot stronger? Does it feel that way under DC?
Yeah, I definitely think we've, mended that bridge a little bit.
Because it was a pretty serious issue for a moment there, wasn't it? Like there was a lot of chat between the distinct disconnect between the two.
Yeah, there was definitely a disconnect there. But, DC's had a couple of club teams come in and train against us. South were meant to, but we had a few COVID outbreaks that day, and they had to be shipped off home, which sucked for them. But I think we also had that trial against Parramatta, Newcastle, and West Harbour as well. But you can definitely feel, clubs are reaching out, wanting to support the TARS, and we're also feeding back to them. DC's done a great job at releasing most of the players. As you said, Langy's been an absolute beast for the Marlins this year. Max Douglas, Tavita Funa at the Two Blues. Like, how good is it to see that the Two Blues beating Sydney Uni on the weekend?
Mate.
25
Even
years
Queensland's
or
good to watch.
Yeah. Even Queenslanders love that one.
Yeah.
That one resonates.
I think all of Australia like that one. But yeah, mate, South are going through a bit of a rough trot at the moment, but
yeah,
I have no doubt that, they'll come out the other side. I think, COVID's been tough on them. They've lost a fair few numbers, as I think most clubs around Sydney have. And the competition's tight. The best teams have won 4 games, and the lowest on the ladder, I think, is South or West Harbour at the moment, and they've won 2. So, mate, it's anyone's competition, I feel. If you turn up and play on the right day, you can beat anyone.
Hey, Jed, mate, just quickly, there's obviously the build-up to the Crusaders game. There was that photo doing the rounds of, one of our favourites on this show, old Charlie Gamble, rocking up to training in that, in that funky attire, just looking relaxed. Just talk us a bit. What was the purpose behind that?
You know how in America they do they wanted to call it TARS Fits and do kind of American theme. I think DC got it out of the Guiltinis.
Right.
But you know how they rock up to games all dressed up and something like that. But
yeah.
Mate, we all did it except our captain, Jake Gordon. So
oh, boo.
I think he was a bit self-conscious to get a photo taken of him. But mate, I just got to touch on that bloke. Charlie Gamble has been an absolute phenomenon for us this year. I can't speak of him high as a person, as a teammate, and to see him getting the results and like the accolades for all the hard work he's been putting in is, I'm so stoked for that guy. And let's hope he becomes Australia eligible soon, because
Hell yeah.
surely he's putting his hand up.
Yep, bloody oath, man.
With
And
this,
how good's a stash as well.
I was about to say, with a mussy and a hairdo like that, you got to keep him away from your missus, man.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah,
Seriously.
bloody hell.
I had to check if my missus is following him the other day. Not even joking.
She's only following me.
Yeah.
Dal, you got a question?
with this group you've got, do you look a little bit further down the track? There's a lot of young kids coming through. Aiden and I kind of always talk about Tane Edmed and how far he's come and how well he's going. But there's a lot of young guys in this group who are starting to really step up. Do you, as a leader in that group, kind of look a little bit further down the track and see where you guys can get to?
Yeah, well, DC made a good point today. He's like, we got to stop looking down at the ladder to try hold our position and start looking up to see where we can get to. Because, ideally, if we can continue to win or play like we did on the weekend, we could potentially get a home semi-final if we continue to keep on growing as a team. So, mate, it's exciting. Like, I've never seen a red-headed 10 play so well. And then,
Since Dallin
yeah,
Murphy.
babbling.
Since Dallin Murphy.
Good
Since
save.
Dallin Murphy.
Good save.
Hey, that's awesome to hear DC say stuff like that. Like, obviously now we've got the we've opened up. We've gone to the New Zealand and all that sort of stuff. We're playing them guys now. It's good to see it, and I sort of like to see the Aussie teams do well, even though I like the Reds. I'll say that again. Nervous, boys. Nervous, fangirling. No, but it's good. You guys are playing some good footy. Like it's been very exciting to watch, and some of these young guys, like you said, they've been amazing to watch, and some of these every week it must be pretty hard to select a team, I reckon. With some of these guys that are coming through, I don't really know what I'm asking, to be honest.
Wait, hold on. I'll roll off.
I'm talking in circles there.
That was a nice little monologue there, Freeze. But sorry, Jed, just on that, you've obviously, you've talked a lot about DC, and I love everything that I'm hearing. He's obviously, success follows the man. He's obviously doing things right, and you've obviously got two guys underneath him, Gilly and Witts, who obviously have a lot of input in the game plan. Has the approach changed from going to Super Rugby AU into the Pacific? Are you guys changing the way you play against the Kiwi teams compared to when you prepare to play the Aussie teams?
Not really. I'm a stupid forward, so I've just put my head in balls and scrums and stuff. So our game plan hasn't changed too much, but I definitely know, we don't want to play too much in our half.
Yeah.
We want to try kick it and put it in the stands when we are exiting, because we want to limit the time that they can counter-attack. Mm-hmm. But other than that, it's just about being physical, trying to, slow down their ball and have a fully set D line, because as you know, if they get quick ball, they're hard to stop and they move it around quite quickly.
Yeah.
So it's just sticking to our strategy, also knowing that things are going to happen in these games and they are going to score two quick tries, and that's okay as long as we stay in the fight and we're willing to stay at it and not give up. And I think we showed that in the Chiefs game, to come back from we were 24-0 down or something, to bring it right back. I think it was 27-24, and we just ran out of gas there because we had a few troops down. But and we had bloody HJH throwing lineouts, which is a bit of a disaster. But
He's a very talented bloke, that guy, eh? He can do a hell of a
he'll
lot.
tell you about it as well.
Kind of like
tell you
Ryan over
about
here.
You throw better than me.
But yeah, for me, the game plan hasn't changed too much. It's kind of been similar to what we are doing. It's constantly looking at our own game and seeing how we can can get better from week to week, as opposed to, constantly changing it and trying to make it more about us instead of worrying so much on Kiwi teams or Australian teams.
Awesome.
And just finally, Jed, obviously on a personal level, you've become a father in the last 18 months with baby Noah. How has that changed you as a player and as a person? Obviously, you talked about your experience before about overseas and how that kind of molded you. What about that impact it's had on your life?
Yeah, I've never thought something would change me as much as being a father has. I think, it keeps me accountable and it keeps me present, because I always want to make sure I'm there for my wife and for my daughter, and it also puts ownership over what I've done over my career. I probably haven't been the smartest with money or the smartest with my recovery and stuff like that, and now having a daughter and a wife, it makes me realise that rugby is a short-term thing and I've got to make the most of it while I've got it. Honestly, it's the best thing in the world. When she come to a game, because they're currently in America at the moment, but when they come to a game earlier in the year, it was hard to hold back the tears. And she's starting to walk and run around now, and she was picking up a footy the other day. So I'm not going to force her down that path. But, she keeps at it.
That's absolutely awesome. Well, Jed, mate, you've been absolutely crushing it this year, mate. We wish you all the best for the rest of the season. Thanks so much for joining us, brother.
Cheers, lads. All the best, eh?
Later, brother.
Thanks,
mate.
Have a good one.
Hell yeah, Jed Holloway. Arguably, alongside guys like Tane Edmed and Charlie Gamble, have really been the impetus for what has been a resurrection for a Tars side that last year, friends, didn't win a single game.
Oh, that was awesome talking to him. Like I got a bit weird at one stage there. I didn't know where I was
got
going.
real weird.
But I was just pumped we had him on. Like I said, it's been good watching him this year. I haven't watched when Bernard Foley stood 50 metres back to get the ball. I didn't want to watch that. They're playing good footy this year, and he's one of those guys who just does all the tough work, and he's been underrated for a long time, I reckon, in my opinion. But it's been good. It's just been good to watch him and get guys like that on the show. I'm pumped.
Mate, his work in the set.
Yeah.
Well said. His work in the set piece has been absolutely sublime for years now, and you saw on the weekend him swimming through that maul defence off line-outs is absolutely red hot. But, that leads us into 24-21, the Tars over the Crusaders. Like, we went through it a little bit with Jed there and what it meant to them, but 10,500 at Leichhardt, Tane Edmed shedding a tear. I know it may seem a bit silly at the reaction that we had, but this is the 12-time champions. This is the 5-time in a row champions up until last season. Like, this is no mean feat. And for a side that last year was on a duckhead down, like, absolutely red hot game of footy from the Tars.
It certainly was. And I think the expectation that everyone had was that the Tars wouldn't even go close.
$15 outsiders.
Correct, and that was the biggest surprise for everyone. And they were almost at full strength. I know they rested a few guys, and obviously Richie's a big part of that, Richie Mwanga, but still, the players they had on the field were outstanding, and they should still be very, very competitive. So for the Waratahs to do what they did, Peach and Holloway and Charlie Gamble and Tane Edmond, those type of guys are really stepping up and are really kind of, I agree with what DC kind of said to them, like they're currently in 6th spot.
Yeah.
They keep playing good footy. They travel well. They get a few more wins.
Yep.
All of a sudden, they're going to be red hot time.
And he touched on the fact that it seems like there's more of a culture there. And that actually radiated. You saw after the game, these guys are in the crowd. They're signing jerseys. They're interacting with the fans. They've got that mufti day. It's not a real thing, but it's essentially just free dress day where they rock up. Like, they're having fun with it.
Yeah.
Like, they're having fun.
I reckon, like, the physical battles, too. Usually you see the Kiwis standing over him and all that sort of stuff. That's not happening as much at all. Like, they're winning those physical battles.
The intimidation factor seems to have resided.
Oh, just a bit. I'm not going to say it's totally over, but what I'm saying is, the intensity at the ruck, all those physical battles, the boys are standing up and no longer the Kiwis standing up just like, chehooing over them as much and all that sort of stuff. It's good to watch that us was giving it back to them, which is...
Absolutely awesome. And, mate, if we could spend, all of our home games at stadiums like Leichhardt, I'd be absolutely frothing. We'll just rifle through a few of the other games because you've got Benny Lucas on the blower, but we'll get to him very shortly. So the Reds 25, Chiefs 27. That one was tough to watch as well. And the Force 18 to the Blues 22. Two games that the Aussie sides very, very easily could have won and just let slip through their fingers. The Rebels jagging a really good win, 26-22 over Moana Pacifica, and the Brumbies absolutely dismantling the Hurricanes, especially in that back third of the match. Tore the Canes apart. But the one other Super Rugby game we really wanted to discuss was that Highlanders versus the Drua. 27-24 over the Drua. Oh, man. How about it, Freeney? Yep. How was this? That atmos at that game was awesome. And the game itself?
Yeah,
wow.
Well, I watched it with Issy, and, it was awesome to watch. Like, they were doing the haka, the Highlanders at the start, and you couldn't even hardly hear them. Like,
no.
And the mic was so close to them. But the atmosphere was amazing. I love how they went over there and played that game. I thought the Highlanders were going to lose, but...
I really thought the Drua were going to finish that one off, Dow. Yeah. I really felt like they were going to...
100%. I think during the week...
Bossy is the man.
I was saying to everyone, if you're going to back someone this week, back the Fiji Drua, because they're over there, they're in their hometown, they sent players back and they rested them, but it was just an incredible atmosphere. And I think there was a bit of concern about bringing in Moana and Fiji at the start of the year, but having both those teams this year has been absolutely outstanding.
Do you reckon they're going to be based out of Fiji a lot more next year?
They are. They're going to be on the island, yeah.
So their home games.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit. And the exodus has begun. Ile Isidro Sesse's recently signed with the Fijian and Drua. I wouldn't be surprised if you see guys like Filippo might go back.
It'd be good. I reckon it'd be good. They need a couple of better signings as well. I'm not saying that, you know what I mean?
Imagine the quality of player that could have been playing for Fijian and Drua in the last 10, 15, guys like Rupeni Thao, Joe Rokothoko, Tuisova. Imagine if there was a professional Fijian rugby side playing.
We're all dead, I'm telling you. 10 years
we would be getting annihilated. But, mate, it absolutely awesome to see. I thought that was one of the most exciting games of footy I've seen in ages, and it goes to show that the crowd really does make a huge, huge impact in regards to that.
Alrighty, so before we get into reviewing any of the club footy that happened over the weekend, we've got our second guest, Aussies Abroad. We have Benny Lucas, formerly of the Queensland Reds, join us. Benny, how you doing, brother?
Good, mate. How are you guys doing?
We're living the dream, brother. Just Dos was just saying before, you're a bit injured at the moment or something, eh? You got a broken jaw or something like that?
Yeah, broke the jaw. What was it? Must be about 6 weeks ago now. So had a pretty interesting experience in the hospital over here trying to get it fixed. had the jaw wide shut for a few weeks, so I lost a few kilos, which probably didn't hurt me too much. But
need that.
Benny, I was just mate. Actually, first of all, it's really good to see you. You're looking in good.
How's the hair?
Yeah,
it's gorgeous.
Long and lush, mate.
He just always, he's just always looking good, mate.
Clinging on.
I have no doubt that jaw was probably broken by a teammate of yours at a training ground bust up. I was just telling the guys off air before, Benny Lucas, notorious training field scrapper. No, but how was the jaw broken? Was it?
A big Japanese head, mate, just straight in the side there. But I'd like to say it was from a little scrap, but my training scrapping days have finished, mate. I'm telling you that now.
That is news. That's good to hear. But Benny, mate, you're playing your trade over in Japan, playing for Mazda currently. Just give us a quick little review of the season. We've had obviously Quirky on, who's down at the Regulions, and we've had Jono, who's at Honda. And I think you guys are all in the same comp. So how have Mazda fared this year?
Mate, we've had an up and down year. I think we got a really good win yesterday, which was a really credit to the boys. They've worked hard all season. Probably haven't got the results we wanted, but we're a sort of team on the up. Sort of, I guess, if you wanted to put it, we're a little bit sort of undermanned compared to some of the other teams in the division. But that doesn't say anything in terms of the boys' effort or anything like that. It's just the way it is. But we had a really good win yesterday, which would have done the boys a lot of confidence, and hopefully we'll stay in second div moving into next year. But it's a different sort of cultural experience over here. And Quirky's he's a
weirdo.
He's a mascot wherever he goes, mate. He just attracts the bloody crowd.
He'd hate that too, wouldn't he? He'd love it.
But no, we have a good time. We all catch up and we sort of help each other out in terms of, if you need that support, because you are away from family a lot. And that's probably been the toughest thing for me.
Yeah.
Just with the COVID stuff, being away from the family for so long. But no, it's been good, mate.
Yeah, and mate, you touched on it before. You're hoping that Mazda stay up in Div 2 for next year. In terms of Benny Lucas, mate, are you there for another year? What are your movements? What are your plans? Can you announce anything? I don't know. I'm fishing for something here.
Yeah, well done, Ross.
We'll see, mate. I'm sort of weighing up what I want to do now. I've always been a believer in, like, if I'm still competitive and I can compete, body still lets me.
You keep going.
I still want to keep playing. So we'll just toss that up. I just want to, obviously, we'll get this season done and I'll get back to the fam, and they'll probably have a pretty big influence on what I want to do.
Yeah.
But at this stage, not sure yet, mate. Just we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Just touching on family, Benny, obviously you're in a pretty special position over there with Zachy and Matt being over there. Do you catch up with them much, or with COVID at the moment, is it a bit tough?
It's been a bit tough, to be honest, because of all the teams have the restrictions, and you sort of, you owe that to your team to sort of do the most possible to prevent any sort of spread or any, catching it and getting it to your team. So they're pretty strict on, in your circles you're allowed to socialise with and stuff like that. So, but it's still, being over here, I'm allowed, I can sort of, I guess, stay a lot more involved with what they're doing, just with the television and sort of seeing them sort of, the games and stuff. So it's good in that respect, but you still don't get to get up there as much as I would like.
Okay, and you've obviously had a fair career. You've always basically been a professional rugby player since you're 18, 19 years of age. What's been your best experience and why, I guess?
Oh, geez, there's a few. ADOS has been a part of a few. No, I think there's been a number. I will, obviously, that period through the Reds where we sort of won the title 2011 there. Just the camaraderie and the mateship and the culture we had during that time was something I'll never forget.
Yeah.
We sort of, while there were a few training bust-ups, I think that's important.
They all came from a place of love, right?
Exactly. What happened on the field stays on the field. And that's what it was like, mate. We were all competitive as hell on the field, training. Test match Tuesday was really Test match Tuesday.
Yeah.
But as soon as we sort of finished up past those white lines, we were best mates again. And that was something that was amazing through that period. I think, too, it was very good for me in my career, my first move overseas to France. I think change is always a good thing, and a lot of people are scared of change, or not scared of change, but sort of scared to take the chance, I guess.
Yeah.
And that taught me a lot about myself and got me loving rugby again when I was probably sort of just in a little bit of a dry patch. So that moving over to Montpellier and playing with those guys, and we had a very good crew over there, and that was pretty big for me. And obviously, like, my time in Japan too has been incredible. You sort of, it's a very different culture, and the people are just so fantastic and lovely. You just sort of meet some great people along the way, and I guess that's what rugby's about, isn't it? Making relationships and just going through it like that.
Exactly.
Hey, Benny, friends here. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. Good to see you.
Yeah. Thanks, mate. It's not true what they're saying. Look, everyone's saying
camera adds 65 kilos.
Josh was saying you put on a few. I thought you lost a few.
Thanks, mate. He's a real piece of work, isn't he?
Mate, see, this is the perfect example of why I don't like halfbacks.
Yeah. Oh, mate. Oh, it's so good. Hey, I got a couple of questions stemming off your fights at training. Who would win out of the Lucas brothers in a fight? Who do you reckon?
Me, without a question.
No hesitation.
Did not
You
even
picked it,
hesitate.
Dos. You picked it.
What's the sort of track record, Benny? on all.
I dust them all up. Ground and pound is just
Just get that little halfback Jack Russell about you. Hey. Also, we've just had a live question. Our first probably one from Keith Akamboa, aka Johnny Brown. What's your favourite Japanese game show, and what one do you want to go on?
I really want to. I got this one over here where they got these hanging rubber bands, and you got to like put the rubber band over your face, and you're wearing like a stocking or something over your head, and you got to like rip that with your mouth, and the rubber. You got to try and bite an apple or something like that.
That's so good. Yeah. Quirky's one. He was an avid concho enthusiast. He reckons. So he loved that playing concho with the boys. He reckons. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but yeah, he just said he loves it.
I'm not even sure what that is.
Yeah. Oh, apparently it's like when they make a pistol with both their hands and they poke each other in the ass and they concho. Allegedly.
I don't doubt Quirky like that. Then.
Yeah. Well, he told us about it the other week on the show. It was real weird.
It actually seems like something that him and Gilly were probably doing
Yeah.
back around the 2011, 2012 days.
100%. Why are you pushing back, Gilly?
What was that, Benny?
I said that's probably the sport they came up with and brought to Japan.
I think,
Yeah.
It probably stands for something. Also, being at Mazda, I'm not sure if you've. I probably should have asked you before the show, but is there any dirt on Jay Havelu, one of our good mates here? I think he got lost his contract for being too fat, is the word on the street. But he does have a nice photo of him in a superhero helmet and stuff. Do you have one of those photos as well?
No, I wish, mate. I wish, mate. But it is dangerous over here. The food can get you, and if you're a bit of a fang merchant, you can lose your way, but get yourself in a bit of trouble.
Oh, mate, my arteries would be clogged by all the Wagyu beef, I reckon. If that's how I died, I'd be happy, man.
Yeah, I'll tell you that as well.
Yeah, but it is good seeing you, mate, just letting you know.
Yeah, you do. Always.
Take it easy, boys. Well, Benny, I wanted to get your thoughts on this because obviously the Lucas clan is part of the furniture down at Sunnybank Rugby. You've got the record for the most points scored in a QPR grand final. Both, Isaac and Tom and Matt all obviously plied their trade there as well. Not sure if you're abreast it as much as previously, but obviously Tommy was there last couple of years. But they've been having a bit of a rough trot the last few seasons, and I don't know whether you have any thoughts in regards to what may be happening down there, or what are your thoughts on sort of the pretty rapid decline of Sunnybank Rugby over the last 3-4 seasons?
I know I sort of spent a bit of time we were sort of stuck there with the COVID stuff restrictions last year, so I got to see a little bit of the season and whatnot, and it was, I guess, sort of sad to see. The results sort of come and go, but I think a little bit of the culture that we had built up there maybe was missing a bit. I don't want to comment too much because it's hard to sort of, when you're not in and amongst, it's sort of hard to put your finger on exactly what was going wrong. But I know definitely teams, had those ebbs and flows of like good recruitment years, and I know Sunnybank probably struggled a couple of years, in recent times to get those new colts coming through, to get that new blood, and when you don't get that, it's hard to sort of for them then to like the grade guys to imprint that culture on the team and sort of get that club culture, which is which is so important. And I think a lot of clubs in general are struggling with that, and I hope there's something that we can change in like I guess in a more broad sense. But I just think, any sport or any sporting team, I think culture is number one. If I ever sort of go into coaching or anything like that, that'll be my number one focus: establishing culture where it's player driven. The team is sort of got a really good sense of like mateship and camaraderie, and I think maybe that's was missing a little bit at Sunnybank. I know they got Benny Armstrong there now, and I know he's made some big changes, and I hope things definitely go on the up moving forward. And I think they're getting some good guys around, and there's still guys that want to be part of it and that can really help out. So I do think they can improve and get better and get back on the pedestal we once were, mate, and look down upon everybody.
Oh, mate, Benny, you sort of, mate, you touched on my next question just then. I was going to ask if if you had thoughts about getting into coaching post-playing. Mate, just hearing you talk then about the culture, the cultural aspect to rugby teams. You've obviously, mate, you've had a 14, 15-year long career, been all around the world. I think personally, probably one of the unluckiest players that I've played with. You obviously had a great career. You played near 100 Super Rugby games. Did you get to the 100?
No, not quite, mate. I think I was 90-something.
Well,
thanks for bringing it up, Dos. Thanks, mate.
But
Don't worry,
love it. But mate, obviously, like a tremendous amount of experience. We've seen guys like Benny Moen come back and have a great influence down at East. Ex-players coming back and not being out of the game for too long before imparting the wisdom and their experiences and what they've learnt. Is getting into coaching, is that something that, you would consider? Because, mate, you're one of my really good mates, and I think, you're the type of guy who needs to come back and who needs to share what he's learnt and impart some knowledge on these young guys and help them, work their way into their own careers. Is that something you've considered?
I think especially the last couple of years, mate, I've had sort of roles in the teams I've been at, which I guess sort of extend just more than just the player. They're sort of, helping out, whether it be skills-wise or something more in that sort of, especially younger guys. And to be honest, I've really enjoyed it. If you'd asked me, say 5 years ago or something like that, if I'd ever get into coaching, I sort of would have told you probably no, just purely for the instability of it. And there's always going to be that aspect with rugby. I mean, player or coach or whatever, that's probably one of the toughest things on your family and whatnot. It's just, the contract sort of year to year or a couple of years at a time, whatever it is. But I've really enjoyed this last period working with younger guys and sort of seeing that enthusiasm and trying to sort of, guide it in a way, because as much as it's sort of a saying and everyone uses it, you wish you knew now what back then,
Mate, 100%. Yeah.
And just even in terms of looking after yourself mentally and physically, and just little things like that. And it's been good to try and sort of talk to these guys and sort of help them along their journey. And I guess the one thing you can as a player that's, helping out and coaching, or if you're a fresh player, is I think guys tend to listen to you a little bit more than sort of that strict coach player relationship. And I think if they know you've sort of just come out of your career, or, you're still fresh, they still listen to you. And I think they have a more open mind to what you're saying, and hopefully I can sort of use that, especially if I sort of get into some coaching over the next couple of years and whatnot.
I've got a gig
because,
for you,
like as I said,
I've got a gig for you, Sunnybank Dragons Premier Grade coach. Right, we get all the Lucases back, and we'll just have all the Lucases in the background in the back line. So it's go Lucas to Lucas to Lucas to Lucas. You know what I mean? I think we need this. I reckon we can make it happen.
Well, mate, Benny, 20.
Just for one season at least, boys. You're not getting a contract. We're going to Sunnybank for a year, and we're going to win.
Lucas's, mate, would be too dangerous. We'd be getting too many yellow cards per game.
It's so fiery. Pass for me, not to me, you idiot! What the fuck was that kick? You know what I mean? A bit of that going on, just scraps, and then Benny come in and just clean them all up.
Getting yellow carded for punching your brother in the face.
Solved it, mate. There you go.
The problem is Zachy'd make us all look too bad, mate. He's too good.
Yeah, but you know what?
Agreed.
Also, and then the demographic of, and then so you get the Lucases to Sunnybank. The demographic of Sunnybank at the moment, surely you get the account sorted, and then you'll be right. You know what I mean? You're not going to lose any money. You'll be safe. You'll take over the leagues club. Boom. There you go, mate.
Well, we've all got a pokey each already, mate. That's it. Didn't you know that?
That's so good.
I just wanted to say that you mentioned it always has been a dream for us to sort of play together, and like I've played with every one of my brothers, but once, one at a time. So we haven't sort of got 3 or 4 on together. So, I mean, it would be a sort of a pipe dream, and who knows if I still can sort of throw a ball around when I'm 40, maybe I have a chance.
I've no doubt you will be able to, mate.
Yeah, get Rex and Benny Tapawai in the mixer too, and you've got pretty much a full
Well, I think at the
back
moment
line.
they've got a few of the old boys back this year.
Rex,
But the
he
problem
only
is they
gets
are
better,
old
mate.
boys.
Yeah, mate, he's like a fine wine.
He retires
Just gets
every
better with
year.
age.
Every year he retires, and every year he comes back, and
I know,
he's
it's
there
ridiculous,
round
isn't
one.
it?
And he's still ripped like Rambo. Oh, mate, it's killing me. Absolutely killing me.
All right, well, Benny, mate, that rounds out this interview, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the blower. It's been so good to pick your brain on a few things, mate. We wish you all the best over there in Japan, bro.
No, thanks for having me, boys. It's been good.
Wonderful. Thanks,
Love
Benny.
you.
Thanks, Benny.
See ya. Take it easy.
See you, brother.
You absolutely nailed that, Doss, straight away.
I
He's like, yeah, I'd win. I was like, mate, didn't
How
even
good
take a
is that?
breath. It was almost as if he knew that question was coming.
loaded.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was actually pumped tonight having those two boys coming on the show. I was like, this is awesome.
Mate, I tell you what though, and I touched on it before. You know, in my opinion, the unluckiest person to probably never play Wallabies. All the potential
Yeah,
in the
right,
world,
yeah.
mate, and he's got, you know, the competitiveness of a fucking lion.
Yeah.
You know,
He's a
he was
honey badger.
Yeah,
He's like a little honey
exactly.
badger.
And
His
I mean,
utility quality is second.
yeah, and I mean, just one of those people. You know, we talk a lot about timing having a lot to do with how your career pans out. Unfortunately, as a 9 and a 10, stuck behind Willie and Quaid, and just never got that consistency in that one position. But mate, as I've mentioned before, one of my really good mates and just an unbelievably talented player, and it seems like he's in a really good space right now, which is good to see.
Hair's looking pretty luscious too.
Oh, mate, it's always looking like
I actually saw our 2004 Terrace First Nudge. They won that year. That game the other week, and he just carved us up, bastard. Yeah.
Oh, mate,
Didn't
he
stick
was...
You're rewatching old tapes of yourself.
No, no, someone,
4, no, he didn't win a game either.
yeah, we did. I definitely wasn't watching my old no, but like it popped up on someone's.
Don't worry,
Facebook.
man. There's like a Quade Cooper highlight reel, and it's just me getting smoked 24/7. Oh shit!
With
this
hair.
is killing it. Yeah,
Yeah, lucky no one would recognise you.
yeah, I know. And I was like 25 kilos lighter too. So, yeah, I feel your pain, friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were just obviously discussing the whole Sunnybank connection, so we may as well just get into the Hospital Cup. So Sunnybank 7, Bond 31. I don't think there was a try scored from Sunnybank.
Wow.
It's a Logan
Got
boy
on
coming
bit.
out. Sorry, boys.
Don't fill it post now,
Sunnybank.
mate.
Sunnybank. I mean, they're hemorrhaging points and they're just struggling to score themselves.
Long
So yeah, it's going to be a long year. You'd have to think for
I'm not
Sunnybank.
sure,
But
I'm
Bond,
not sure if
Bond
they've won
will
a
look.
game in any grade yet this year.
Oh wow.
I could have
That's
made that up
tough.
too, but I'm pretty sure. No, because the women's lot. Yeah, no, I'm right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe you. Yeah.
Mate, it's going to be a tough year for Sunnybank, but as you said, hopefully they can get some of those blokes back, try and help change that culture. UQ 47, Norths 12, 40-0 at half-time in favour of the students, so that one, very, very one-sided.
You look
That
at that,
UQ side.
Yeah, that was gun. That was, that was pretty good.
Oh, mate. And then we don't have to worry about that West game. West 28, Brothers 34.
Was that
West,
at the
West were
pedal?
down 24-0,
On paper, mate.
20 minutes in.
On most years, West are bloody good. You know what I mean? On paper, when you're looking at the two sides, you would think, I think Brothers are going to get pumped here, but yeah. I
Mate,
don't know,
my
just-
brother called me a couple of weeks ago because he coaches reserve grade at UQ, and he called me. He's like, "So how West looking?" And I just straight away was like, "They're going to be playing finals, mate, on the way to grand final." That's the standard aside they've got, plus guys like Vaihu and
Yeah.
Carter Gordon and Vidogo and Filippo all coming back.
Mate, they've played
They're
two-
doing it pretty tough.
No, they've played two of the top 4 teams in the first 2 rounds. Can't be too hard on them. UQ and
No, you
UQ
got to
and
be hard on them.
brothers obviously had a point to prove after their loss last week.
Yeah,
but,
boy.
but
They
do.
keep doing what I say they always do. They either let a team get out to a lead, then lose by a few points, or they get a good lead and then lose by a few points. They aren't an 8... Like last year against Jeeps in that semi-final, they were an 80-minute ruthless side, and that was one of the best games of footy you're ever going to see. And it took Jeeps playing their grand final the week before in that semi just to make the granny.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they need to do. They
I
need to
reckon they'll
replicate
get there.
that.
I reckon they'll get there.
They
I reckon-
will.
They will. I just hope.
I also
I'd
think
like to
because
see them play
Elvie won't
the-
let them continue
Absolutely,
being...
mate. I tell you what.
He's a very, very hard taskmaster, is Elvie Prinsloo. But yeah, the match of the round: Jeeps 36, East 24. Dow, you were there commentating this game. Jeeps, bloody hell, they are looking pretty special.
They
Josh
certainly
Collins.
are. It was Josh Collins and Pat
The
Nicholson.
Roman sandal, mate.
2 weeks in a row.
Tally as.
Those two were just absolutely sensational. And
Paddy Nicholson is ridiculous.
He's the 15 from
Yeah.
Jeeps. Yeah, yeah.
He was
He
sensational.
was outstanding.
He is so sick.
Paddy Nicholson the week before, I think he dropped like 2 balls, and we're just rinsing him that night. We're having a few beers, and then like he threw me a beer, and I threw it back to him, and he dropped it. And I was like, "Classic Paddy, mate. What's going on here?" And everyone's like into him, and he's like, "Oh, once you just a gay, you see, I scored 2 tries. Is that not good enough?" So that's we had a point to prove this week.
he certainly proved that
Mate,
point.
Yeah.
Josh Collins, boys.
That try from Josh Collins
Try of
was
the year.
one of the best.
That's rugby 08 shit.
Yeah.
Mate, it was.
He beat everyone in their back line.
Yeah.
He ran around every single player.
Yeah.
And then the last fullback, straight around him. What do I do to have that speed? I'll just run like Naruto everywhere. I would not walk anywhere. I'm telling you. Give it to me for a day. I just run. I'm gassed, but I'll be running.
But Dow, we were talking before we went live, and the fact we're like, he needs to give going pro a red hot crack, but he's just not interested, is he?
Yeah, he's an optometrist and seems very happy doing that. But like, he would honestly, I reckon, walk into a rugby sevens team, Aussie sevens, type squad, or Super Rugby, give him a preseason, because he's got that natural ability. And he's just so fast, and you can see how much he's developed just over the last 3 to 4 years.
So
How old
incredible.
is he now?
He does not care.
I don't think he's that old, friend, is he?
I was about to Google him, but yeah. He's not that old.
Isn't he your teammate?
Yeah, I don't know.
He
how
wouldn't
old
be
he
more than mid-20s.
is. I'm old as hell, so I don't know. He's way younger than me.
Yeah, I was thinking that before when we were
2018, I'm pretty sure.
He
He might
scored
have been
that
a year or
try.
2 out of Colts, maybe, and he was
Yeah.
playing, running around in 4th grade, mucking around like, why don't we get this guy? And then all of a sudden, he plays semi-final. I think that's might have been
Yeah.
his first
First game.
That
He
was
just
his
ran
first
around
try,
like
yeah.
one of the best wingers all year.
and
that
had
Fijian fella.
scored an absolute pearler in that match.
In and
too.
away him, and
He is what we've discussed it before. Like you can't put a price
Nah,
on just genuine speed, like that.
but with the rugby brain.
and finishes.
Like,
yeah,
insane.
I mean,
and
you go-
that's
yeah.
something that you see with guys like Dylan Peach is starting to do it, and like they're fast, but they've got that finishing quality too.
Yeah, like
It's like Dossie back
I
in the
think it was
day,
the
mate.
first 15 minutes of that game. Like he in and away on Shane Kennedy.
Yeah.
And I
He beat the
and
14, the
Shane is
fullback.
no slouch, mate.
Yeah.
Like he's quick.
Yeah.
He's a
And-
great defensive
Yeah,
back
and then
too.
just seeing Josh Collins do that to him, I was like, man, this guy's got
The
genuine
14 and the
gas.
15.
Yeah, I mean, it just obviously hurts me being a Tiger seeing that
So good
result. But they had a good game the weekend before against Sunnybank. But I think this Benny Moen, a first-year coach, he'll pick out the positives from it. I know exactly how he'll approach it. They're a young side
Yep.
East. They've got lots of young guys. He'll pick out the positives. And and they'll use that moving forward. It gave him a true experience as a first grade coach, what it's like to mix it with the big guys. So he'll as a coach he'll learn from that experience. He'll pass that on to the. But I like what I'm seeing from these East guys.
yeah.
Yep.
They didn't give up, eh?
No, and they don't. And they're young guys. Tajan at the back, mate. Will Kirk at
Will
9.
Kirk.
I think
Yeah.
he's
Yeah, he's
brilliant.
good.
They've got a very hard nosed.
Kirky, mate, he's a gun. He's a
2
gun.
years ago, when you guys won that comp, you guys had obviously
Stars
your
aligned, it was
Cerus
perfect.
and your Eli
I mean-
Pills, but you also had very hard nosed players, guys like Tom Milosevic and Matt Smith.
Yeah.
And you've got sort of like for like players coming through. Like Alex Smith is one of them who's really, really tough, and
He's a
Aidan
gun as
Leeming
well, yeah.
and Zach
Yeah.
Crothers as well has beefed
Mate,
up a
Zachy
bit. And
Crothers, he is outstanding.
but he's a little mongrel himself. So
Yeah.
like there's
And that's what I mean. And, and it's all sort of a learning experience for those young guys. Playing it, there's no harder game in club rugby than going away to Jeeps at Yoku Road and playing a top team. So, they'll all learn from it. And, mate, I'm excited by what the young Tigers showed during that game.
I'm actually like I'm not saying I'm surprised that Jeeps started so well this year, but like it has been somewhat of a change in the guys. A lot of these young guys are coming through, and they've sort of not. It's been pretty seamless. I've thought they're still playing that sort of forward orientated game. We've got Hendo down there. He used to be at the Rebels. He's he. Like all these young guys, they just love scrums and stuff too. So it's.
And I think picking up Tussie was huge for Jeeps as well.
He is out of control.
Yeah.
He is out of
So
control.
direct.
But
He
yeah,
is
just having
such a
just having those having like Hoff having a guy outside him like Tussie and stuff. It's just just watching it. I haven't had anything to do with much of it since the last couple of weeks, but just watching him go. bloody hell, like this is pretty good to watch. And these young guys, like born in 2003 and stuff, like it's hilarious. You know what I mean? But they're very different though. We had a few beers the other night. Oh, we're gonna go home. And
pussy.
times have changed, boys.
You pussy.
Not at Tigerland, mate.
No,
those boys
not
will be ripping
in the trusses.
Drink this. Now, in regards to Shoot Shield, I mean, mate, there was upsets galore. Eastwood 45-0 over the Rats. The first couple of weeks, the Rats were well beaters. Now they've copped a duck egg from the Woodies, who are on top of the table. Randwick up over Gordon 20-17. Hunter 28-8 over the Pirates. Manly 34-32 over Northern Suburbs. Now 1 and 2 on the ladder are Eastwood and Manly. I don't think anyone would have been picking that 5 or 6 rounds into the season. South's getting up over the Beasties 38-19. But 2 weeks in a row, the two Blues have knocked off Gordon and now Sydney Uni 27-19.
Huge. And even the result, Hunter beating the Pirates,
but handsomely too.
Yeah.
Like, there's no one would have been picking that win last weekend, and definitely no one would have been backing up against Uni this weekend, Dow.
Absolutely not. But you can see the confidence now they're starting to play with. You can see, Kiao there at number 8, and is it Funa on the wing? It's been a fullback. These type of guys are really stepping up for them, and it's going to be, I think, if they get a bit of momentum, it's going to be really, really scary.
They're just just like any of the sides, like West Harbour and the two Blues and Hunter have typically had issues sort of with their depth.
Yeah.
But this just goes to show a lot of the sides, when they've got their number ones on their field, they stay healthy and they are cohesive. They literally can beat any side, DOS. Like, they have been sublime the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, and as Jed sort of said before, the whole of Australia was cheering that the two Blues beat the Students.
Right.
And I don't really follow Shoot Shield. I don't really care too much about it. But seeing results like this, seeing the openness of their competition, I think you're right, J-Ball. When these teams have their number one team on the park, it seems like definitely this year that anyone can beat anyone on their given day.
This is the sort of thing we need, though, man.
Yeah, 100%.
We need,
100%.
Like, imagine Sunnybank used to be that conduit for, your Logan sort of base players, which has a really, really strong Polynesian culture, going through to Sunnybank, then on to Super Rugby and beyond. Western Sydney was very much the same. When they used to have guys like Tatafu Pelota now running around in the competition, he's the sort of guy that you can hang your hat on. Like, he was running touch, I think, for the women's side a couple of years ago. Like, these guys love this, and they're the sort of teams that there are some kids out there that would look up to them, and if they see them knocking off guys like Sydney Uni and Gordon,
they're not going to go to those other teams. Yeah.
No, they're not going to leave for other clubs. They're not going to leave for maybe other codes, and I just think it's going to be absolutely
And
huge.
you know what's actually, like, when you look at the whole big scheme of things, obviously really good what's happening with those results in Sydney Club Rugby, and then just hearing Jed speak about how DC's trying to mend that relationship between grassroots rugby and New South Wales rugby. And I mean, it gives credit to the fact that, DC's his lived and breathed club rugby, Shoot Shield rugby. He brought, was it Ringer first, back from the dead, won their first premiership in 53 years.
Yeah,
and he
Gordon.
did the same with Gordon.
Yeah.
So he's been in the trenches with the teams who have languished at the bottom of, at those tables. And now he's the head coach of the Waratahs. So people will respect that.
Yeah.
When you bring these external coaches from overseas, the clubs, they don't have that, that connection.
It's
Like,
good to
it's
see
not
him
that
doing well, though,
intrinsic
as well.
tie.
It's good to see him doing well.
Exactly. And so he
with the
understands.
coach.
So he's like, with the Waratahs' success, we need to include the whole game, which is why he saw the guys in the crowd after the game. And I'm sure, they're going down and supporting their clubs on Saturdays if they're not playing. Because I think that's the element that DC brings to it. And, I really don't like the Waratahs, but it's great to see what they're doing.
I actually forgot how bad that relationship was with the Waratahs.
They're
I'm pretty sure they told him, just
Well, they're
go
two
fuck himself
distinct
and-
unions. So at least here, the QRU, and then obviously you've got all your competitions are underneath that QRU banner. The City Rugby Union and the NSWRU were actually two different factions, for lack of a better term. So, That's why, like, they've got this competition that is absolutely awesome. But come finals time, sometimes you wouldn't even know what's going on down there. And now you've got, like, they announced the players coming back from that TARS setup. Like, Ruan Smith was playing for Hunter on the weekend, mate, and people were frothing it. We got a lot of people sending in images, videos to PAC, just saying how awesome it was to have someone like him coming back. So I
Club
think
Rugby's coming back. We're coming back.
Let's
Club
get Big Boyke on the show.
Yeah, actually, he'd be hilarious.
Yeah, he's good gas, mate. He's bloody good gas, mate. I think they're doing the right things down there, and I think what DC's doing, they're probably where Thorny was 4 to 5 years ago. So they need to stick true to DC, I reckon.
Darren Coleman,
Yeah.
next Wallaby coach.
You heard it here first.
How good is it that, like you said, he's come through and then like they're doing well as Waratahs now? I'm loving it.
You're calling it, Dow.
I reckon he'll be the next Wallaby coach.
All the ingredients to do it, right?
Rugged.
That's huge.
Do you reckon he needs to win a Super Rugby title to get it
And I reckon he will.
within 2 years? When's
I don't know if it'll be 2 years, but I reckon.
I reckon Rennie's going to at least get the World Cup and then probably another cycle.
That's what I reckon he'll do another cycle, maybe 2 years post that. So he's obviously through to the World Cup.
And then potentially 2
I reckon
more
it's good
if they're
having
doing
Rennie, but I reckon if we saw DC, imagine that.
I
Could
mean,
Rennie-
DC's the
Could
type
Rennie slide into a director of rugby type role that Scott
Potentially.
Johnson's vacating?
How good's this, Del? We've solved footy in Australia. We're coming back. And Wayne Bennett can go fuck himself. You know what I mean?
It's true, though.
We're coming back, baby.
It's true. All right, now to round out this week's episode, we've got our Rugby watch. DOS, plenty of rugby's to keep an eye on last weekend.
Plenty.
Who's yours?
Mate, the crowd out in Leichhardt was great. Jed Holloway was up there, but it's the guy that he paid a lot of credit to and who, you know, we are number one fans of on the show here was Charlie Gamble. Like, not eligible yet for the Wallabies, but
So good.
man, he's...
Tonga.
You know, and just his whole story, you know, when hearing Jed speak about him, then it just, you know, it sort of reminded me of Bo Robinson's story back in 2011. You know, just coming back from nothing and then coming and...
But having that tag on him from a youngster like this guy's the next hot shit.
Yeah.
It's a huge weight to carry.
Yep. And then, you know, and he's... Yeah, mate, he was my rugby of the week. He was absolutely outstanding and everywhere for the Tars.
Love it. Dow, your rugby?
Mine was the Suva crowd.
Yes.
BG.
Good shout.
I just think
Mate,
they're unbelievable.
loose.
Yeah.
They're
Imagine
going
a full
to be...
season up there.
They're
I mean,
going to be
it begs-
so hard to beat in Fiji next year, man. We have to go. We have to go to a game next year, man.
Yeah.
We'll go live.
We'll go live, pack show live from Suva. Zach, we can pack this up and take it on the
It'll be
road.
fine, mate.
100%.
It'll be fine.
Hell yeah, man.
But
That'll be
it begs the question, like, why did it take so long for them to...
Yeah,
you
it's a
know,
good
They've
question.
just had the player...
But-
They've had the
Because they're
players
awesome at
for
footy and we want
decades.
them.
Because they were in the Wallabies and the All Blacks.
As Eddie Jones said, the
Fair point.
Kiwis,
France,
the
yeah.
Kiwis have had the 3 best academies in the world
Fair
for
point.
years now. Fiji, Samoa and Tonga.
Yeah.
Mate, you can't beat them.
Oh,
They're,
that's unbelievable. We're all, like I'm telling you, we're all fucked in 10 years. Like if this
Yeah.
keeps up, we're all gone.
yeah, mate.
Like, we're dead. But my
Your rugby friends?
all of the Australian conference, very proud of you all. All right, that's my rugby is. I'm just loving the effort. I'm loving watching. Like, I think I even got trouble on missing the weekend because I'm just watching every game. It's just like, can we do something else? I'm like, it's Saturday. I'm watching the footy. I apologised after, but I was just pumped.
What'd you go and do?
What do you mean? I was just watching. After that.
Yeah. Did you go somewhere?
When?
With the missus?
Oh, after the footy, I went home and watched more highlights. No, I had issues, so what did we do? No, we just went home. Had a trek through the mountains to the car. But in saying that, guys, I bought Burks today. And
Pretty good.
do they get better?
They do, mate.
They do.
Because I've got feet like pavers.
No, they
I've got
do.
feet like pavers.
So
and I'm
do
telling
I.
you
Yeah,
why.
you got to get the Birkenstocks, mate.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Birkenstocks
and
are
I
good.
will get a pair of them. But like
They
I'm telling you,
float,
my,
mate. They're sick, dude.
I'm really
yeah,
trying
they're
to.
the best.
I'm really trying to wear them in. I'm wearing around the house everywhere. Hopefully they get better.
they
no,
do get
they
better.
do get comfy, and then you
Yeah.
don't wear anything else.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
My
What a
rugby, Aussie women's sevens, the inside side, mate. They are just they're so highly respectable. and they are just
back.
such a beacon of respect within the Australian rugby community, and they are exactly what not just women's rugby needs in Australia, but the game as a whole.
Well, they've got a test coming up too, the Wallaroos.
Yep. Yeah,
That's gonna be
against
cool.
Japan and Fiji, Zach.
Well,
yeah.
we didn't say that. Fijiana got beaten by
Oh,
Japan.
yeah, by Japan. Oh, shit, that's right.
That was crazy.
Rugged dude.
Yeah.
Hectic,
Anyway, yeah.
man. We'll get to that next week, I guess. I don't know. All right, well, that rounds out this week's episode of the PAC Show. We are actually just moving to Monday nights. We've done one Thursday night in 5 weeks, so we decided to scrap the Thursday because it's all a bit much. But you're not joining us next week, are you,
I'll
Killswitch?
be in Hawaii, mate. Killswitch will be in Hawaii with the bees.
Nice.
Bought a couple of packs of darts. I got my Crocs, new Crocs coming, yellow ones.
Is that why you got your Birks?
Yeah, I got them too, just to wear them in. This is like if I want to be casual but sort of
Formal.
classy. Crocs for every other situation.
Yeah.
No,
But
well, next week on the couch, we're probably going to have Quirky joining us alongside Big Fat Das, so that'll be absolutely red hot.
Good. Surely we
Um,
can still get you on Monday night.
Yeah, we can stream in. I'll
Oh, yeah.
No, I'll be
It'll
alright.
be like 4 a.m. in the morning over there.
No, it's not. It's only a couple of hours behind or something.
Oh, really?
It's like 8 hours, but like a couple of hours difference. Sort of thing. I don't know.
What?
I
I
could be
still
like,
don't
no, well,
think
let's
he's going to be in good form.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
be,
maybe we won't get him on.
Yeah. I think it's best.
I'll be wounded.
Yeah.
I've got my Nexium ready as well, so my heartburn. I'll be sweet. It's all good.
Awesome. All right, well, that's another absolute corker of an episode. Dos, Dow, Killswitch, Zach, thanks very much for all your help. Thanks very much for tuning in. And on behalf of everybody here at Pig Athletic Club and DoubleTake Studios, we'll see you next week.
I'm pumped.